Morning, everyone.
Morning.
So good to be in the house of the Lord again together with you. You know, each new dawn is a new opportunity and a new transition time. I chose this sermon because the church is at a crossroads. It's time. It's a new beginning. So many opportunities. And I want to read this passage to you one more time from the book of Esther, in verse 14. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish. And who knows, but that you have come to the royal position for such a time as this. This is not a time to remain silent. It's a time to express yourselves and express what this church is to be and to become. It's exciting. It's new. You have new opportunities and new beginnings. I understand that there are around 40 new students from Taiwan in the St. Louis metropolitan area studying at universities. New students. Taiwanese Presbyterian Church of Greater St. Louis. This is your opportunity to minister to these young people who need to have a connection, need to have someone to care for them, need to have someone to minister to them. So this is an opportunity. I also have read in your bulletin that you now have selected, and there is a new interim pastor coming for the next year, beginning September the 18th. What a marvelous time for you all. Do remember, this is not a time to remain silent. This is a time to voice your thoughts and your hopes and your dreams and your beliefs for this church. It is your church. So we are not to sit back silent. You're to sit back and do something. You have an opportunity to minister to so many new people, these new students. What a joy you should be feeling. And also, by the way, as of July 1st, I'm no longer an administrator. Woohoo! I don't have to write papers and do paperwork anymore. I can just teach. I just get to teach online. I don't have to travel anywhere. I just go up in my pajamas. Yeah, teachers do that. And get online. And of course, they only see us here, you know. So, and get online and just teach away. I don't have to write any more documents and reports and accreditation manuals. Nothing. It's a joy. Folks, you have a new clean slate ahead of you. You have an opportunity. Isn't it great? That's why I've chosen this message for today. From the book of Esther. Now, you all have studied this. You remember hearing me say this on another passage in Esther before. What's strange and unique about the book of Esther? No mention of God. And some people say, well, maybe it doesn't belong in Scripture because it's too secular. No, these are God's chosen people, and it has a great and marvelous story. There are characters in this play. Isn't it great? Xerxes, Azurius is another name. Xerxes, who's that? He's the king. Queen Vashti, she's the queen. Okay. Mordecai, the bad guy Haman, the tribe of Benjamin, and of course Esther. You remember the story? This isn't in my sermon, so they're trying to catch up with me. This is all preliminary. This is where King Xerxes, you know, they have big banquets in Persia. That's a big deal. They aren't just one day. They go on for weeks. And so the king was having a big banquet, and the men and women did not banquet together. Do you know that? They were separated. Do you know I preached in churches a long time ago where the men sat on one side and the women on the other? That's the strangest thing. It's interesting, though. So anyway, they separated them. Don't you love this stuff? It's great to know all this. All right, so they're having this big party. So obviously part of their parties then, they would drink wine. And for 7 days, the men were drinking wine. Well, you know what's going to happen then. I mean, no good can come from that, right? You're supposed to get right. 7 days. So finally, on the 7th day, King Xerxes wanted Queen Vashti to come into their presence. And you all read that in the scripture. It's there. She refused to come. And you're going, how could a queen refuse to come into the king's presence? bad queen, right? No, ladies, you need to read what that really meant. She had to come into their presence at his beckon, and she would have to expose part of herself to this group of men.